It's getting a little old. Every time you talk about something that you do, he has to one-up you. Has to talk about how he's actually better at this thing. It's been like this for years, and you just don't know how much more of it you can take. Hi there, I'm Dr. Megan Connell, and this is Psychology at the Table. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Narcissistic Personality Disorder, or NPD. Now, I'm not an expert in NPD, but I am fortunate enough to work alongside somebody who is. So I am joined again by returning guest. First returning guest? Yes. Jenifer Fights LPC. So welcome back.
Thank you. I'm excited to be back.
I'm so excited.
I like this place.
Yes. Awesome. So tell me a little bit, what exactly is narcissistic personality disorder? We're talking about that. What do we mean?
Well, this is something that I think it's important to recognize is not a mental health issue like depression or anxiety. This is a personality disorder, which means it's something that has been grown. It's something that has been developed, some of it by the person's innate wiring, so sort of the biological makeup, but mostly about the environment and the experiences that they've had and how then that's landed on sort of the person that they've become.
Okay.
I hope that makes sense.
How might it present itself? So I think we kind of maybe all have in our heads what we think a narcissistic person might look like, but how does it actually look?
Well, I mean, so it's going to present as a little bit like you described. They always have to be the smartest person in the room. They always have to be the best or the expert or the known voice on any sort of subject. And they do not like to share space with other people. They don't like to not be the center of attention. There's technically two types of narcissists. There's the grandiose narcissist, which people are sort of used to. That's the Hollywood version of narcissist, sort of very in your face and very sort of aggressive. There's also a wounded narcissist, and those are the people that will fly under the radar a little bit, like you sort of won't see them coming. But what's hard about wounded narcissists is that they will end up making you feel sorry for them, which creates a little bit of this cyclical dynamic where you are as put off by this person as you would be like a grandiose narcissist, but it's a lot easier to dislike a grandiose narcissist than it is a wounded narcissist. You'll end up feeling like, I'm the jerk. Okay, maybe it's on me. Like you get into a little bit of that crazy making with wounded narcissists where you'll end up being like, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem. Like maybe I'm just trying to be more of whatever. So it's interesting to sort of see who shows up in the room.
Okay. And how does narcissism differ from somebody who's just very confident and sure of themselves?
Somebody who's actually sure of themselves is actually going to be willing to share space with somebody else because a confident person is confident, which means they know who they are and what they're good at, but they're also comfortable for you to be good at something and for you to be okay to have something different or better. What's going to differ is that you will see a narcissist sometimes come unglued or get agitated if they feel like they're having to share space with somebody else.
Okay, so maybe like in gaming terms, this might be somebody who's the hard hitter, and that's been their role in the group, and somebody else gets an ability that lets them hit hard too, and now they're suddenly like, what's the point?
That's going to set them on their heels. They're not going to like that.
Okay.
They're going to all of a sudden be in unfamiliar settings and they won't know how to cope well. Their ability to cope is rooted in this idea that they are always one step ahead of everybody else. So a truly confident person will be like, oh, great, good for you. That's awesome. Maybe how can we work together? Whereas a narcissist is not going to necessarily be comfortable.
Okay.
They won't like that.
And so if I'm understanding you too, the wounded narcissist, it wouldn't necessarily be like, how dare you step on my toes, but it would be more of a, that was my role in this deflated thing. Right?
100%. And they will really feel like you have wronged them in some kind of way. Like that's really unfair for you to do. You know, this is my role. You've just taken something from me. And they will maybe be a little bit more subservient about it. Like that idea of gaslighting, like, well, they'll sort of come in and they'll maybe try to get other people sort of like, well, she knew that was me, right? Like you don't really like the fact that she's got now this hard-hitting ability.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. So if you're running a game and you have these behaviors starting to crop up at your table, what are some things that you can do to help support your players and to make sure that your gaming table stays a positive place for everybody?
Well, I think one thing is to reassure your players, and I hate to put it in these terms, but the non-narcissistic players, that you are sort of in charge. And that you are willing and capable to handle whatever comes to the table, and that you're not going to allow it to become unfair.
Yeah.
that you're not going to let somebody lose a skill or not manage something. I think from the standpoint of the narcissist is I always say, I mean, if you have a narcissist at the table, you're going to have to learn how to work with them, not necessarily try to change them.
Right.
Because you may find that to be sort of a head banging against the wall kind of exercise where
Right.
you're just going to get frustrated. So
And you're not their therapist.
And-
it's not your job.
always not their therapist. So maybe the easiest way to sometimes get a narcissist to work with you is to rub their ego a little bit. Like, hey, I know you've always been the hard hitter, but maybe we should try to give them a chance, and you can maybe help teach them how to use those abilities. You can maybe try to tap into a little bit of that need of theirs to be the smartest, to be the best, to maybe also try to get them to sort of come along with the idea. Don't forget, narcissism is rooted truly in an insecurity, like when you really boil it down. So you need to make sure that it's not that insecurity that's coming to the table.
Right. So that you're helping them feel like an expert in a way. So it's like, look, we know you're an amazing player. I need your help to make sure everybody else becomes an amazing player too. So that way we can up our entire game.
Yes, because then that benefits them.
Yeah.
We could really be like one of the best games out there.
Yeah.
Can you maybe go ahead and use some of what you know with those hard-hitting abilities to maybe we'll just help get our game up a little bit.
Oh, that's
Rub
awesome.
that ego a little bit.
No, I like that. I think that's a good way to tactfully help people who are just struggling with newer players. So more veteran player dealing with a new player, not even necessarily narcissistic, just that frustration. Right?
Well, and it's still technically a strengths-based approach.
Yeah.
There is something that allows this person to carry this off because they really maybe be very, very good at what they do. So we're still approaching somebody's strengths. We're still recognizing what makes them good. And yeah, we may be tweaking it a little bit to make it useful to our purpose, but we're still tapping into a strength.
Right, and letting them stay at the table and helping it make it a positive experience for everybody around there.
And hopefully they're going to learn
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
how to work with other people.
What would be some resources or web pages that you might recommend if somebody wants to learn a little bit more about narcissistic personality, or books or anything you could think of?
There is a great book called Stop Walking on Eggshells. It's a book that is more known to be used with individuals that have borderline personality disorder, but borderline personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder can look a lot alike.
Yes.
So that is a good book that I would recommend, that if you are intimately involved with somebody that has narcissistic personality disorder, as in at a gaming table with them every week, that's a good book to sort of read. I Hate You, Don't Leave Me is another one that's a pretty good book. I'm always going to recommend somebody to head to the APA website, American Psychological Association website, which is I think apa.org. Type in borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and get good research-based information. If you Google narcissistic personality disorder, don't do that.
Don't do
this
that.
is not a place for Dr. Google. You're going to get a lot of armchair opinions, lots of because this is a heavily researched topic, but not always good research, empirically supported research. So I always encourage even a layperson to go to apa.org, type in what you're looking for, and there are going to be some articles that are really scientifically sort of boring, but then there's also going to be some really, I know, we never get boring, right? But that are good for like a layperson, somebody who's in a relationship with somebody like this, or somebody who's a family member, or, a friend, and short articles, but things that you can read about how you can just hang in there with these individuals.
Oh, I think that's great. And we'll put links to all of that stuff down in the doobly-doo here. Awesome. Any other final thoughts? Or
I would just encourage people to remember that as much as individuals with NPD come across as if they don't need other people, that they're fine, that really they do need community. And if they have found themselves within a D&D community, my guess is that's extremely meaningful to them, and they don't want to lose it. So if you can shift your framework to being able to find a way to maybe shift the way that you see them a little bit, and how you can maybe tap into some of that, and then it can be beneficial to the group, I think it'll be really great for you, but then also really great to be able to allow them to sort of stay in the game.
that's awesome. Thank you so much for being on.
You're welcome.
And before we go, where can people find you online?
So www.southeastpsych.com. I am in our Ballantine office here, so you would just sort of click on all the little buttons to find us here at the Ballantine office.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Hope this was helpful to you guys. If you have other questions or comments, please leave them below. And as always, let's make space at the table for everyone.